crossing the raging Yarden. How many are ready to receive from the word of Yahweh? What's the name of this teaching? Crossing the raging Yarden. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Sefer Yirmiyahu. Sefer Yirmiyahu 12 and 5. You think that would work? If we began a campaign pressuring our congressman to amend the Constitution? You think that would work? I don't. I don't. Yirmiyahu 12 and 5. Part 2 in the message entitled Crossing the Raging Yarden. What's the name of this message? Crossing the Raging Yarden. If you have run with footmen and they have wearied you, then how can you contend with horses? And if in the land of Shalom in which you trust, meaning with your brothers and sisters, if they have wearied you, then how will you manage to cross the raging Yarden? I'm going to read this again because I love this verse. Turn to your neighbor and say, I love that verse too. Are you with me? If you have run with a footman and they have wearied you, how then can you contend with the horses? And if in the land of Shalom in which you trust they have wearied you, how will you manage to cross the raging Jordan? We live in the land of Shalom. We live with our brothers and sisters in the house of Yahweh, in the things of Yahweh. But when we have family problems and family disputes in the camp of Yahweh, and we get bummed out, we get tired, we get discouraged, we get depressed, and we leave the calling and we leave the camp, Yahweh has a question for you. You're getting freaked out and bummed out now. How are you going to contend with the horsemen on the other side of Jordan, the Islamists who are coming to wreak havoc in the camp of Israel? The land of Shalom. This is the land of Shalom, where brothers and sisters dwell together in the unity of Mashiach. Amen? Behold how good and pleasant it is for brothers in the land of Shalom, which we trust. I trust in the land of Shalom because Yeshua is the king in the land of Shalom. I said Yeshua is the king in the land of Shalom. If you can't get along with your brother and sister, and you get easily offended all the time, and you're ready to walk out and fly out and do this and do that, you need to ask yourself a question. How will you contend with Islam in the great tribulation, the horsemen of the apocalypse? Turn with me to 1 Corinthians 13. Corinthians Aleph 13. Is this light okay? We're better off without it? Huh? It's just a weird thing, you know? It's not like a normal bulb. It's like one of these weird bulbs. Corinthians Aleph, chapter 13. Though I speak with diverse languages of men and of heavenly melachim, and have not ahava. What is ahava? Love. I am become as a sounding brass, or as a clanging cymbal. And although I have the gift of prophecy and understand all sewed mysteries, and all da'at, and though I have all emunah, faith, so that I could remove mountains, and have not ahava, I am nothing. And though I distribute all my material to feed the poor and show up on the first Sunday of every month to cook meals for the homeless, doesn't matter. And have not ahava, it profits me nothing. Though I distribute my material things to feed the poor and give my body to boasting, but have not ahava, it profits me nothing. Ahava, love, suffers long, is kind. Ahava envies not. Ahava does not boast, is not puffed up, does not behave itself indecently, seeks not its own advantage, is not easily provoked, is not easily offended, thinks no evil, stores up no grievances. I'm going to read those last two verses again. Ahava suffers. What is ahava? Love. Ahava suffers long, is kind. Ahava envies not. Ahava does not boast. Ahava is not puffed up. Does not behave itself indecently. Seeks not its own advantage. Think about all the fights and arguments among the people of Yahweh that would stop, and all the dissension that would stop, if everyone did not seek their own advantage. Think about that. If we just followed the word and we didn't seek our own advantage but the advantage of others. Is not easily provoked or offended, thinks no evil, stores up no grievances. You know what it means not to store up a grievance? What they did to me yesterday, I would like to avenge myself of what they've done to me, but I can't because it's not stored up. I don't have it here, and I don't have it here. I forgave them, I released them, and I have not stored it up anywhere. Here or here. Nowhere have I stored up these grievances. How would we get along if we did all that? I don't have it stored up here. I don't have it stored up here. Well, if I don't have it here and I don't have it here, then I keep no record of these grievances. So then we wouldn't be offended. Then we wouldn't be easily provoked. Then we wouldn't think evil about one another. We're talking about thinking about one another where? In the land of Shalom. If the footmen of our brothers and sisters are wearying us in the land of Shalom, how will we contend with horses? The real enemy. Love does not get offended. Look at verse 5. Love does not get offended at the drop of a hat. And let's be honest, it doesn't take much to offend most of us. You don't like my music, you say something about my clothing, you say something about my kippah, you say something about my weight, you say, oh, and boom, I'm not talking to him. That's it. I'm never calling him again. Never mind that they loved you. Never mind they helped you move. Never mind they gave you their clothes. Never mind that person gave you their time. Never mind that person loved you and loved your family and treated you as if you were flesh and blood. Never mind all that. One offensive thing that they've done to you, and now, adios. That's not love. That's the flesh. Love does not get offended at the drop of a hat. If you're quick to be offended for almost any reason, no matter what the matter is, you're not walking in the love of Yeshua. I'll say that again. If you're quickly offended for any reason, no matter what the matter is, you're not walking. In other words, you can't walk in Yeshua's love and in the Ruach and get offended all the time. You can't. Love is not easily offended. It should take a catastrophic calamity to get offended at somebody else. Somebody hurting a loved one, injuring a loved one, something that really is outrageous in order for you to get offended. If you're always getting offended 3 times a week, and you're getting offended at this one, and this one offended you, and this one promised you, and he didn't pay what he promised you, or he didn't say what he didn't do what he was going to say, That's not walking in love. Love does not get offended at the drop of a hat. If you and I are quick to be offended very easily for no matter what reason or no matter what matter, we're not walking in the love of Yeshua. If that's the case, you and I have too much time on our hands. If all you can see is the faults of others. There's so much scripture. There's so many things. There's so much to learn. There's so much things to advance. There's so much things to grasp in the kingdom. If you've got the time to constantly be focusing in on other people's failures and your brothers and sisters' faults, you have too much time on your hands. Get busy and work for the kingdom of Yahweh. Can I hear a good amen? You're focusing on your brother and sister too much. You're greatly offended, storing up grievances, thinking evil, getting provoked easily. Then the word of Yahweh says, get to work in the kingdom. And you won't have time on your hands to get easily provoked. A man who's busy building the kingdom, or a woman who's busy building the kingdom, doesn't have time to sit around and get offended by every little thing somebody else in the kingdom does. Can I hear a good amen? So if you find a brother who's always finding fault, and they're always seeing the shortcomings of other brothers and sisters in the kingdom, that's an individual that has too much time on their hands. They need to get busy winning souls, discipling souls, edifying and admonishing the people of Yahweh. Can I hear a good amen? Corinthians Aleph 12:25. Turn there, please. 1 Corinthians 12:25. Have a lot to cover. Crossing the raging Yarden. Part 2. The Ruach HaKodesh is among us. Is he not? The Ruach HaKodesh is among us. Why? So that when we're walking in Ahava, there should be no discord, notice, no division, notice, in the body. The Ruach HaKodesh in us and among us is our guarantee and is there to make sure that there's no discord or division through lack of love, but that the members, notice, we are what? All members of the what? Synagogue of the kingdom of Yahweh, the Malchut HaShamayim, but also of the synagogue. We are all members of the synagogue, B'nai Yeshua synagogue of North Miami Beach. But that the members should have the same ahava one for another. Notice, we are all members and we must learn that offenses are nothing. What did I just say? Offenses are nothing except darts of S period, A period, can, to destroy your shalom and purpose. What is an offense? An offense is something that offends you, shakes you. It is a dart of Satan to steal and destroy your shalom and to steal and destroy your purpose. Can I hear a good amen? So when someone offends me, when someone offends you, I should say, oh, there's a fiery dart to destroy my peace, to destroy my purpose. And so then comes the question, what is the best way to counter these fiery darts that come to offend us? How do we deal with these offenses? What is the best way to counter offenses in the land of Shalom? Can anyone guess? Ready? It's not very complicated. Ready? Ignore them. You've got the Ruach HaKodesh. The word of Yahweh says you can do all things through Mashiach who strengthens you. And those of you who practice ignoring offenses are mature and you're walking in Ahava and you're walking in the love of the Spirit. The only way to deal with offenses is to ignore offenses. Because offenses will come. Amen. Without a doubt. Okay. People are going to offend you. If you're alive, if you're walking on the earth, people are going to offend you. Okay. There's only one way to overcome offenses. And what is that way? Ignore them. Because the one who offends you expects you to react. The devil expects you to lash back. And when you ignore them, then the offense goes away, or the person who caused the offense goes away. That's fine. I said that's fine. Offenses will come. But if we ignore the offense, the dart will what? What's going to happen to the dart? Fall by the wayside. And what's going to happen to the offender? When you don't react in anger, when you don't react in bitterness, when you don't react in hatred, the offense goes away, and most of the times the offender goes away with the offense. Are you with me? Are we on? Are we going? We gone. Todah Rabba Yahweh. So the Ruach HaKodesh and the Ahava of the Ruach HaKodesh is so there should be no discord, no division in the body, but that members should have the same Ahava one for another. So the best way to counter offenses is, number one, to ignore them, and number two, to settle it without strife immediately. Because if an offense is not settled immediately, the odds are overwhelming that the offense will never get settled. Immediately, when your adversary comes against you, what did Yeshua say? Agree with him immediately, lest he drag you to the judge, and lest the judge drag you to the chain gang, and the chain gang drag you to prison. Agree with him right away. What does it mean? Agree with him right away. Yeah, you're right. Ignore it. Okay, whatever. It wasn't our generation that came up with okay, whatever. Okay, whatever. You're all fat, ugly gorilla. What? Okay, whatever. That's the only way to ignore offenses, to overcome offenses. Ignore them, or settle it with your brother and sister without strife immediately. Go to Yehuda, please. Sefer Yehuda, 19. Sefer Yehuda, Jude 19. Crossing the Raging Yarden, Part 2. Yehuda 19. These are those who cause divisions. Sensual, having not the Ruach. I got a problem with a person who comes into our congregation and has been here for 1 week and is already causing problems, and people are not talking to each other and they've only been here for 1 week. I've got a problem with that person, but worse than that, Yahweh's got a problem with that person. They've only been here for 1 week, or they've only been here for a couple of days, and already they're causing division, and already they're turning brothers against brothers and families against families. I got a problem with that. But more important than that, Yahweh's got a problem with that person. Or persons. There are those who cause divisions constantly. We're not talking about one argument. We're not talking about one fight. We're talking about people whose very nature, whose very presence causes divisions among the members of the assembly. Yahweh says they are sensual and they don't have the Ruach. They may have the blood, but they don't have the Ruach. You need the Ruach so you could dwell safely in the land of Shalom, and so that the footmen don't weary you. Why are you so quiet on me? There are those who cause division, but Yahweh says in the book of Yehuda, verse 19, they are sensual, not having the Ruach. So those who use offenses or hurt feelings, notice, to divide the camp. See, when someone's feelings are hurt, they will go about trying to hurt back, or they will bring division into the camp instead of ignoring the offense and having the offense go away, or going directly to the brother who offended them, and right away agreeing with their adversary, lest the judge comes, and lest the chain gang comes, and lest the prison comes, and they drag you away to prison. That means, Yeshua said, if you let it get out of hand, you'll be in bondage, and there'll be no escape for you. So ignore, learn, ask Yahweh for the ability, the gift to ignore the people who offend you and the offenses that come against you. Because you can't change the offense. You can't go back and make believe the offense never happened. So you have to train your response to the offense. You cannot do ministry unless you learn how to respond to offenses. And how do most people respond? By hurting back and offending back, or by leaving. Or causing more division. Those who stick around after they've been offended, causing more division, more questions, have not the Ruach. They tend to divide the camp. And they are sensual, not walking in the Ruach HaKodesh. Verse 20. Look at the contrast. Pero you, Amos de Yahweh, but you, the beloved of Yahweh, build yourself up in your most kadosh emunah, faith, making tefillot in the Ruach HaKodesh. Notice, there are two kinds of people that respond to offenses. One, stick around, cause division, cause questions, cause fear, doubt, and unbelief in the camp. And then there are those who go, uh-oh, fiery darts. Satan's throwing fiery darts at me. I'm going to guard myself. I'm not going to make this Doc's problem, Dr. Maria. I'm not going to make this Bruno's problem. I'm not going to spread the poison, spread the fear, spread the doubt, spread the gossip. I'm going to guard myself. I'm going to put on my own spiritual armor, and I'm going to guard myself in the emunah. Getting quiet now. As opposed to the one who lets offenses destroy their shalom, in the land of the shalom, you and I, brothers, are to build ourselves up in our most kadosh emunah and praying in the Ruach HaKodesh. In other words, the solution to the petty offenses that come, what is the solution to the petty offenses that come against you? Number one, ignore them. Number two, agree with your adversary quickly. Or, better yet, build yourself up to the point where feelings no longer guide you. The man that rules his emotions, the man or the woman that rules their feelings, will do great things for Yahweh. Those who know Yahweh and conquer their spirit, we are led by emotion. Just look at a lot of the women that are with a lot of these guys. Just look around. You ever see these guys? You ever see these women? Huh? You're going, what's he doing with her, right? But what's she doing with him? Because they're going by emotion. They choose their helpmate by emotion. They choose their marriage partner by emotion. They choose their congregation by emotion. They choose if they're going to stay in a congregation or leave by emotion. So the solution to the petty offenses that come against us is to practice and build ourselves up to the point in our emunah, in our kadosh emunah, all the time praying in the Ruach HaKodesh, to where feelings are irrelevant and they no longer guide us, but the love and the pity of the Ruach HaKodesh for others releases others and protects ourselves. The love of the Ruach HaKodesh releases others and protects ourselves. You with me? That's how we overcome offenses. We walk in the Ruach, we build ourselves up. Somebody hurt me, I build myself up in my faith. I build myself up in the Word. I build myself up in worship. I build myself up in intercession. I build myself up in prayer. I build myself up in doing good and building the kingdom and getting to work in the kingdom. I call my feelings what they are, the enemy of my soul. Feelings are the enemy of yours. Feelings will destroy your mission. Feelings will destroy, because feelings pull on the strings of your heart. And many of the feelings are from Yahweh, but some of the feelings are from who? S period, A period, designed to pull you out of Yahweh's will, and to pull you out of Yahweh's ways, and to pull you out of Yahweh's place, and to pull you out of Yahweh's season in your life. I rather have the authority and the love of the Ruach HaKodesh to make my feelings null and void. Because what happens if you feel like walking out on your wife? What happens if you feel like walking out on your husband? Are you supposed to obey those feelings? No. In most cases, no. What happens if you believe you're a victim of society and capitalism, and you feel it's your right to go into Best Buy and to steal all the electronics that you need because you were born on the wrong side of the tracks and you never had the opportunities in your life that most of the white folks had, or most of the capitalists had in the West? Your feelings will lead you right into a pair of handcuffs. Watch it, because most people are offended when their feelings are punctured. Most people are offended when their feelings are injured. I've seen people come to me and cry, big tears, crying. ¿Qué pasa? They hurt me. They don't want to talk to me. They're not in the congregation. Did it ever occur to you that they were walking from one offense to another? Everybody was offending them. Everybody, they were walking in flesh. They weren't walking in love. And they were getting easily offended all over the place. And Yahweh just did something to end all those offenses. And here we are crying, crying. So, offenses will what? Come. How do we overcome offenses? We ignore them, and while we ignore them, what do? Do we sit and mope? No. We build ourselves up, what? In our most kadosh, what? Emunah. The love and the pity of the Ruach HaKodesh for others releases others, but protects ourselves. That's the power of the Ruach HaKodesh. You can release others who have offended you, but at the same time you have the power to protect yourself in the Word, in prayer, in worship, and the fellowship of like-minded brothers and sisters. So, ignore and protect. Write it down. This is, some of you are looking at me like I was born in China. Write it down. Take notes. Do something. Ignore and protect. Ignore the offense. Build yourself up in saying, there's no offense in the world. There's no offense in the world that can take me away from Yahweh's will. There's no offense in the world that can take me away from Yahweh's plan. There's no offense in the world that can take me away from Yahweh's purpose.